On this week's episode, Christmas just got a lot more exciting in the entertainment world. The Game Awards has its nominees, and Charlie Brown gets to be on public TV after all. All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, or do whatever you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, including throwing out some of those Facebook gaming stars at us, it is truly appreciated. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. Normally it is Marcus de la Garza, but he is not going to be here this week, and my best wishes to him. A little bit under the weather this week, so I'm hoping for a quick recovery, and he'll be on here for PCC Multiverse 200, but we'll wait and see. But stepping into the big chair again this week is my good friend indeed. You got to catch him over at Honey Queen and the Honey Galcast on Facebook. Those are two awesome pop culture groups you got to be a part of today. It is Noah and Fine. And Noah, thanks again for stepping into the big chair once again.
No problem for you, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend, there's a lot of things exciting that we're going to talk about coming up on today's show. First up, we're going to be talking about a lot of great things in the movie world coming up for this Christmas. We'll talk about that here in a sec. The Game Awards, they recently announced their nominees for Game of the Year and some other awards as well. But we'll go into the Game of the Year awards as far as what they're talking about for the Game Awards coming up. We'll see whether we like them, we don't like them, things of that nature. The Lego Christmas Holiday Special debuted on Disney Plus this week, and Noah has seen it. Does he think did he like it? Does he think it's as good as, what the Star Wars right now with Mandalorian and all that going on? Or did he think it was like as bad as the original Star Wars Holiday Special? You'll hear that coming up in a second as well. We've got a great guest on the back end of the show, Liz Priestley, great actress. You got to check out her work coming up in Concrete Cowboy, coming up next year on Netflix, starring Idris Elba. If you get a chance, please check that out when it comes up, because really, she worked really hard on it. She has a lot of great things to say about it. In fact, we have a great interview coming up with her on the back end of the show. Black Friday deals. I'm going to be talking some Black Friday deals this time in Target, so stay tuned for that on the back end of the show. And Charlie Brown, wah, 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 wah. Apple Plus has decided to go ahead and be nice after all in the giving spirit. We'll tell you how they're going to head. We'll tell you actually how you can go ahead, even if you don't have Apple Plus, to check out the Charlie Brown holiday specials coming up at the back end of the show as well. But my friend, Christmas is now on the way. And I will tell you this, my friend, it starts off with the major news of the week. It starts off with Wonder Woman heading now not only on as Christmas Day, that was confirmed as going to be the release date for the Wonder Woman release, but not only in a format of being released at theaters, whatever few theaters there are out there that are going to be taking care of it and going to be released upon it, but also as well, it's going to be simultaneously released on HBO Max, which is a huge news drop. And the fact you don't have to pay extra money on top of it, i.e. Mulan, giving some smack out there to Disney Plus on that. You don't have to pay more for it is the big kicker. So we'll talk about that first before we get into another movie that's actually moved up to go ahead and debut right around the Christmas time as well. But first off, my friend, your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84. You know what? Warner Brothers, they're saying, we're just going to bite the bullet. We're not going to delay it anymore. There's so much of a fan fervor for this movie to come out. We're just going to go ahead and drop it on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I guess Christmas did come our way after all. Here's the thing, and again, we discussed this with Justice League back in 2017. I got to be honest, I was not the huge fan of the Wonder Woman movie. I know people complained about Batman v Superman and Man of Steel, and the problem with Gal Gadot, you either are on the bus or not with her acting, and I feel her range is not there. I don't think the build is there. I know that she's Israeli, and I know, as Israeli, they still have to train to be part of the Israeli army, and she's a fighter, and that's great and everything. But unless she has somebody next to her to play off as, I'm sorry. For me, she doesn't work. Now, I know that a hero is only good as their villain, and they're bringing in Cheetah, of all people, and Kirsten Wiig, which at times, she's a very funny person, but at times can she do dramatic work? And I don't know what it's mostly going to be a hybrid of CGI anyway when she becomes Cheetah, but I still don't know if this movie is going to work for me, whether I saw it in the theater or the fact that it's going to be if you have, the HBO Max without paying the extra $30 like you did for Mulan, because I'm even more surprised about that.
Well, that's what I want to talk to you about. That's the big news, is that it's dropping same day as it's going to be released in the theaters. A lot of people are excited about it. This is a movie that would be garnering $700–800, possibly even $1 billion had it been under normal circumstances. They're dropping it onto HBO Max, and they're not asking for a single penny other than the regular subscription fee. They're really making a big gamble on this because they really want the subscriptions. This is what it's all about. It's getting the subscriptions to HBO Max.
I'm sure I get it, but
I think it's going to do it. I think this is a big name, and it's dropping at just the right time. I really liked a lot more than both you and also Josh. Josh thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good as far as the original Wonder Woman. I think Gal Gadot is a sensational Wonder Woman. I have nothing but great things to say about her performance. I understand that you said in the past about some things about you're not happy with as far as for her is concerned. And I get that. But I'm telling you what, this is going to be big news for a lot of people that are very excited. And we've seen over the past few months when something is released that's big on any streaming service, that's a huge boost for that specific streaming service.
You know what? I'm more intrigued with the Snyder Cut of Justice League.
Oh yeah, that's big too. Obviously, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's something that we got to definitely, because we discussed Justice League, so we definitely got to discuss the Snyder Cut. But that I'm more intrigued about. If they continue this trend of if you just want to pay for the subscription and not raising the price of subscriptions either, just to put Wonder Woman out there, and I'm sure with enough subscribers. Again, they've been trying to do this for years about you just watching blockbusters at home for $25 a pop. I don't mind doing that, but I'm on. There's a devil and angel on my shoulder when I watch Wonder Woman, and when I see the trailer for 1984, it's not doing anything for me. But if it helps HBO Max and it helps get this movie out there, I'm kind of hoping that Disney Plus will do this for Black Widow, which would be smart.
And that's another thing I want to lead into is I'm excited for Wonder Woman dropping myself as far as Wonder Woman 84 dropping on HBO Max. But you're right, my friend. It could lead into a situation where Black Widow, Disney Plus, may be forced to drop Black Widow on there, and they maybe have to do it now at no extra charge because they're seeing what HBO Max did. Because if they go out and they say, okay, Black Widow now in May, when they have it targeted now, because that's actually the most current release date for it, if they drop it in May and they just drop it in theaters and this hybrid of theaters and simultaneously dropping it onto the streaming service, they most likely will not be able to go ahead and get away with charging $30 this time around because of the fact that HBO Max, look what they did. They're willing to bite the bullet. Disney Plus may have to as well.
My prediction will be that sometime in January, we're going to get Black Widow on Disney Plus. I have this feeling that once the numbers and subscriptions come in, Disney, that apparently is hemorrhaging money, is going to turn around and say, you know what? They did it for Wonder Woman. We're going to do it for Black Widow. And it'll be interesting to see Wonder Woman versus Black Widow. And you know what? I'm sure Disney is paying attention to this. So we may actually get Black Widow in December as well. And that'll be interesting because if both are really bleeding out money and they want subscribers and they're going to get more with this, it would just make more sense to me. I'd be more hyped up for Black Widow But that's because that's the team that I'm on. So I guess we'll find out what happens. They come some way or other. I'm sure we're going to get that one a little earlier now.
Well, I am a huge Black Widow fan. In fact, my girls are huge Black Widow fans, and I know that's something that we want to see the most is a Black Widow. We've been waiting for that movie. We've got our Black Widow merchandise here at the house. We've been waiting for that movie more than any other Marvel movie, pretty much since Avengers Endgame. Outside of that, I want to tell you right now, that's probably what I would love to see is that it dropping in January. But I don't know. Like I said, right now the release date is for May. But if like you said, they're hemorrhaging so much money that could be the case, that'll be very interesting to see. But now they're pretty much now what HBO has done is pretty much HBO Max has done is pretty much pigeonholed. They've put Disney Plus against the wall and said, you know what? They've pinned them and said, you know what? Go ahead, release Black Widow simultaneously theaters and on streaming service, but you have to do it with no extra charge. So if they decide to do it, they now can't charge the $30. Otherwise, that's a big PR nightmare that Disney Plus would have.
Well, I'm glad they did it with Mulan and not with Black Widow, and I debated about that, but I think they kind of learned their lesson. So not to be repetitious at this point, my prediction will be some way, somehow, that Disney is listening. I'm really crossing my fingers that we're going to get Black Widow this year. We still have time before they try to release in that May 2021, but it's just a pipe dream, I guess. Or not, who knows?
Who knows, indeed. But also being released, and that was a movie that's being pushed up because Disney Plus is releasing Soul straight to Disney Plus, and they're not actually asking for any other charges for that. But Soul will be released on Disney Plus on Christmas. But coming shortly thereafter, that was a movie that was pushed up. Quite peculiar, I think, on Sony's part. I don't know why they really wanted to go ahead and do it, but on December 30th, they are pushing the April release of Monster Hunter up to December 30th. So I want to hear your thoughts on Monster Hunter. I mean, that series, it's going to be something that they're already working on Monster Hunter 2. It's from the folks that you see with Mila Jovovich and also Paul W.S. Anderson, who you saw make so many Resident Evils and made that $1 billion franchise. So I want to hear your thoughts on that as far as Monster Hunter being moved up to that general time frame, because they'll be competing with Soul and they'll be competing with Wonder Woman 84. But that movie, to the best of my knowledge, and I've tried to do research on it, I do not think it's a video on demand. I think it's a theatrical release as of now movie as on December 30th. But I will update everybody if that's different and that changes. So
well, I guess you see my facial expression right now.
Yeah, listen, I did.
I'm not ashamed to say I was a huge fan of a couple, not all of them, but a couple of the Resident Evil movies. I do have them on Blu-ray. Didn't review them at the time for reasons because the problem was a lot of people are more fans, surprise, of the game than they are of the movies. And video games being turned into movies never seem to work out the way that they want to. But I do feel that Mila Jovovich, look, I'm a fan of hers. I loved listening to her on the audio commentary of Resident Evil. I loved her in Fifth Element. That's the first time I saw her. I think a lot of people saw her. I did see bits and pieces of this movie. I've never had a chance to play the Monster Hunter games. I didn't know if it was supposed to be like Pokemon. I know that it's a big franchise now. Unlike Pokemon, you go into an open world, you just fight a lot of monsters, and you make them out of armor and or weapons, using them to hunt more monsters. That seems to be it. Not a bad thing. Can this work? Can there actually be a plot to it?
Well, but that's not why you go see those films, because the Resident Evil film had no plot, and there was how many of them, and they made $1 billion. So
yeah, I have it. Here's the thing though. She still has appeal and chemistry, so I am intrigued on this one. It's a Sony movie too. The fact though it's going to go up against Wonder Woman and Soul, I don't think is smart because
no.
no, it's not. It's kind of like having,
and it's not an on-demand release. All I'm seeing is that there'll be IMAX, a little bit of that, whatever.
It's got to be an IMAX,
yeah. But it's whatever theaters that are going to be made available. They're going to be competing for the same theaters as Wonder Woman 84. But it is, as of yet, not on demand, same time type deal.
This feels like 2015 all over again. You either go see Star Wars Episode 7, or you go see Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakle, or Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Road Chip. You know, and then finally you see Episode 9, or you go see Cats. That's what it's coming down to. So it's either you're going to go see Soul, or you're going to go see Monster Hunter. You know,
I know you saw Cats first.
You know what I did. I don't have any regrets with it because I enjoyed it a lot more than Episode 9. But we'll get there.
Well, that's like going from the bad and the stinky to the bad and the stinky.
Well, it is.
That's another day. That's another day. But I hear you, my friend.
This is like you either see the highly anticipated movie that you know is going to be the one everybody wants to see, or you're going to see the lump of coal. And sometimes the lump of coal will still be talked about. And surprisingly, those Chipmunk sequels, better or for worse, were more talked about than episodes 7 and 8, and Cats only talked about the 9. I don't know more people are going to talk about Monster Hunter, mainly because it's from the director of Resident Evil, and it stars from Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. So I am a gambler, but this is more of a monster movie than a zombie movie. So whatever she does and whatever he does with her, I would be intrigued. But although I would like to see Michelle Rodriguez come back in, I would definitely love to see the actor who played Johnny Cage, because I know Paul Anderson also directed Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
And Johnny Cage, I think, was in one of the Resident Evil movies. I think the third one. But they killed him off very quickly, unfortunately. I mean, I'm a gambler to this one. If it's in IMAX, more power to it, because it feels like it would be an IMAX movie. But if it's still on demand, where would it go? Because I don't think Sony has a subscription service. So would it go to...
Well, it would go to Netflix, or they would set up a deal. They have their various deals where they go to as far as where they distribute their movies and whatnot. But yeah, it might go to Netflix. It might go to Amazon. I'm sure they've got that already in the works as far as what they would do. The only question is, will they go ahead and change their minds and make it a simultaneous release? I think they need to, because if it comes to the fact that maybe they'll release the movie on demand services 2-3 months down the line, it's going to be forgotten about, because there's so many movies and so many productions right now that are sitting on the shelf that are going to be timed release that everybody's going to forget about Monster Hunter. So the best thing for them to do right now is go ahead and compete on the same level as Wonder Woman 84 and as Soul, and be on a streaming service, because most people are going to be staying home. They're not going to be going ahead and going out to the theaters because of the situation that's going on. It would be in their best interest, in my opinion, to go ahead and on the 30th have a simultaneous worldwide release on demand and theaters as well.
Well, you know what? It would be great to see a blockbuster, but I still think it would be smarter for it not to go up against...
Well, I would put a different time. I would
don't think
put
it's
it April or something like that. Yeah. I mean, the movie is being released early in theaters to the UK. I think it's December the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So in the US, it's not even be released till later that month. So I don't know. It just, at this point, they're making their decisions. Some of them are for the best, some of them not. We've seen already in 2020 some strange decisions and some decisions that have come back to haunt studios. Let's start with Tenet. We'll start with there, but you know what happens when they were really adamant about releasing it in theaters, and you see what happened there. Now it's going to come out, and it's not exactly done very well at the box office, only earning $350 million worldwide. But I will tell you right now, it's something that we're looking forward to seeing is Wonder Woman 84. At least I am. I know Noah is more excited about the Justice League Snyder Cut, and I am as well. But that's coming up in 2021. But for right now, Christmas just got a lot better. And that will mean Wonder Woman 84, you can go ahead and check it out in the theaters or on HBO Max with no added extra cost outside of your regular subscription. What are your thoughts out there on Wonder Woman dropping, or what are your thoughts on Wonder Woman 84 dropping on Christmas Day as part of HBO Max and HBO Max's subscription deal, and plus also the theaters as well, if you wanted to go ahead and choose that option. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, there's so much more to talk about on today's program. The Game Awards announced their nominees for this year, 2020, and this has been a year for video games. That's rest assured that has happened. So I want to hear your thoughts on the list that's out there. We're going to focus only right now on Game of the Year. I know we've touched on other shows in the past as far as from direction and things of that nature, but Game of the Year is really where it's at. And here are the nominees for the Game Awards for this year, 2020. Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. So I want to hear your thoughts. Some of these are very high-profile releases that got a lot of love initially. I know there's one in there like the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I'm not sure you should qualify as a Game of the Year since it's not actually a new original game, or even if it's a sequel or something like that. I don't think you should really count that. I know you talked about Yakuza Like a Dragon should be on that list instead, but I know there's some other games, Assassin's Creed, that Valhalla, that was also being well thought of. There's also, I think they should have, I think they might have, well, excuse me. I think they should have waited for Cyberpunk 2077 and allowed that to be, the chance to be on the list. Or did they actually get a chance to review it? And is that telling sign that it's not good or it's not great or anything of that nature? So I'm not so sure that this is the entire list that they should have put out there. Again, I have an issue with Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a tremendous game. Don't get me wrong. I just think when you put a remake as your best of for 2020 in a year that you've had several offerings that could qualify, I think that's a miss on the part of the Game Awards.
You know what? I think all award shows at this point are fixed, and I am going to put on my tinfoil hat. But yeah, you're right. It is about the money, and you didn't hear me in the background, clapping with Final Fantasy VII Remake because I'd be lying of saying, I'm glad it got its recognition, and why wouldn't a Final Fantasy game get something?
Well, maybe they should make another category because there's now so many remakes and renditions and reimaginings and remasterings. Why not put it in its own category? Because there's at least 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 remasters released every year. Why not put it in its own category?
Because here's the problem. It goes back to what I complained about when they decided for the animated movies that they were going to create a separate category for Best Animated Film. And then they were just picking the ones that they felt that they would go and see. And by that, I mean the committee. So It was kind of like in 2009 when it was a great year for animation. But what happened? The movie Up, and I have nothing against it, but it got nominated for Best Animated and also for Best Motion Picture. It got nominated twice. And you know what? We knew it wasn't going to win for Best Picture, but it ended up winning for Best Animated Film, which I thought was the biggest middle finger to the fans because there were some great movies out there this year. If they do a subcategory for something like remakes and Game of the Year at this point, it doesn't matter because you know what? You're right. It's a remake. It's a remaster, it's whatever you want to say that Final Fantasy, whatever they wanted to do with it was. But I got to be honest, played the demo and wanted to get the game. However, do I think it's Game of the Year? Matter of opinion. And as for Yakuza, yeah, you're right. It's a matter of opinion. Cyberpunk, they should have waited because they postponed that. Last of Us 2, I got to be honest, it's an interesting game. I wouldn't consider it Game of the Year. Animal Crossing, I've tried playing it. I don't really see what the appeal is. Hades feels like something like out of Diablo, but these are just my opinion. It's the same thing I say the Academy Awards and the Golden Globes, and you're right. My pick doesn't win. Am I going to throw a hissy fit over the beach? I'm not going to be like that YouTuber who said, well, Joker got nominated for Best Picture, but it didn't win. Parasite did. But then again, when was the last time anybody really discussed the movie Parasite? Or most
Parasite was our pick here at Pop Culture Cosmos, at least my pick.
Okay, well, I'll shut up about that then.
Yeah.
But seriously, like, if your pick doesn't win, are you going to throw a hissy fit over the beach? And in all honesty, no, I'm not. I don't really. The winners are really the ones who invest the time in it, and at least I got to find bad games I never heard of. But these games I've heard of. I've heard of the ones that were nominated for Game of the Year. Do I think any of them deserve a nomination? Yes and no, matter of opinion. But that doesn't mean that because mine wasn't picked or mine didn't win, I'm not going to rage quit or anything over it. But I really felt that this was also another good year for gaming, even though, with the Corona and everything, putting Final Fantasy Remake, well, because it's a whole different ball game. And from what I'm understanding, too, because that game on PlayStation 1 was 4 discs, and you put everything now with a new fresh coat of CGI, HD, and not make it a turn-based battle system, so they really, pardon the pun, changed the game with Final Fantasy VII Remake. But as far as I know, I don't think it's the full game. I think they're going to be doing it in parts because it's so big. And
it just comes down to it's a remake, and they should. Yeah, you should have original games that were made, that were released, that shouldn't be, even if it's sequels, like Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is a sequel, but that game is fresh. It's new. It's a new creation in a sense, as far as it's a second iteration. It's like you would say a Halo 5 or anything like that. That's fine. Last of Us 2. That's also something where, again, it's its own game that was released for the first time in 2020. Those games should be nominated as far as for Game of the Year. Final Fantasy VII Remake, no matter how good you think it is, it's still a remake. And that's something that I think was lost as far as it's concerned. I think it should be in its own category. And by the way, I think I said what was it? Parasite. Actually, Parasite I think was number 2 for me. I think it was The Farewell was number 1. But anyways, I digress on that. I think at this point in time for the Game Awards, they need to really consider the fact that Final Fantasy VII Remake should not qualify for a Game of the Year because the fact, again, it wasn't a game that was originally released in 2020.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though. I mean, and going back to other award shows, how many things have been remade or sequelized that still found a way to get a nomination for Best Picture of the Year or Best Thing of the Year? So video games, listen, the problem is that they're running out of ideas, and I think that it comes down to 3 things: money, reviews, and whose palms are being greased for these award shows. I've tried to watch these award shows. They're not that interesting to watch. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's just going to be an excuse to see it on PlayStation 4 Game of the Year and selling it for, $30 less. But between you and me, I would probably check out Hades. Doom is a shooter, so
I'm really interested. I've seen Doom Eternal now for quite a bit. I'm really interested in getting back into the world of Doom. Hades is something that has gotten a lot of steam under the radar. Just a lot of people are really into it. Like you said, it looks a lot like Diablo, but it's something that I'm very interested in definitely checking out as soon as I can. Hades, but again, it just goes back to: are you in with Final Fantasy VII Remake being involved in this as far as it's concerned, or not being placed in its own category? Because I think that ultimately you have to ask yourself, this was a game that was not originally released in 2020, so I think it should be in its own category with other remakes that were done, well done or not done, because there were quite a few remakes that were well done during the course of 2020.
Again, you know what? It's an ongoing debate, but I think what it just came down to was this wasn't a best year because of the coronavirus, and they just like, oh, remember this game? Bam, we'll put it out there, and nobody's really going to notice or really complain about it. But I think, in all honesty, and I'm really crossing my fingers on this one, I've heard a lot of good things about Hades. Haven't had a chance to play it yet. I do have it on my Switch, though, because I think it started off on the Switch and then kind of moved around to Steam and I think PlayStation. So I think if we're going to go for the underdog and you really can't pick the favorite, I think it's probably.
I think there's a lot of momentum on Hades. I think there's a lot of momentum on it.
I think it's going to go to Last of Us 2 for whatever reason, but I'm really crossing my fingers for Hades.
Well, we'll find out what's going on with the Game Awards when it comes up later in December. I know there's going to be a lot of people checking out for the world premiere videos and things of that nature, but we want to hear your thoughts on the nominees for the Game of the Year for Game Awards 2020. That's Animal Crossing: New Horizons, Doom Eternal, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, which I think is also going to get a lot of great pub, and I think that's also a high contender for that award as well. Hades and The Last of Us Part 2. I wouldn't be surprised if Ghost of Tsushima or Hades gets it, but we want to hear your thoughts out there on that. Please, what do you think is going to win the Game Awards Game of the Year for 2020? We want to hear your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos@yahoo.com. Well, before we hit the half-hour break and our great interview with Liz Priestley of Concrete Cowboy coming to Netflix in 2021, my friend, you watched the Lego Christmas Holiday Special. I have been sworn not to see it yet by my daughter, who can't wait to see it until the weekend. But, of course, during school week, you're not supposed to really go ahead and do things like that. So, need I digress? My friend, the Lego Christmas Holiday Special has hit Disney Plus. Was it good, or was it something that was just so bad it reminded you of a Star Wars holiday special in a galaxy far, far away?
You know what? This makes up for episode 9. It's really cute because anything that I feel that has Lego and it's animated, the movies are great. But, you know, they have this charm and this sarcasm and this cynicism to them that I just feel works. Spoiler free, because, you know, you haven't seen it yet. It just deals with, this would be kind of episode 10, I guess, where Rey is teaching Finn the way of the Force, but she finds a way to travel through space and time, and she actually interacts with episodes 1 through 9, and hilarity will ensue. And what I enjoy about this is that it's not just another time travel plot, but you also have the Emperor that is a lot more fun. He's kind of Gargamel-esque in this for some reason. And I do love how you're going to see a famous Star Wars villain meet his counterpart from the past, and the two fight, which is great. And also see another episode 1 character that never got his credit in a really great cameo. I was kind of disappointed. I will spoil one thing, though, that Jabba didn't make an appearance, because I know he's a Lego piece in a way, but he's like this medium-sized piece that just has a Lego face painted on him, and I guess that's understandable, because I guess there's no other way to, you know, do a Lego thing of Jabba the Hutt. But they didn't put him in this. But then again, it wasn't that 2008 Clone Wars movie. Again, the voice cast is good. There was an actor that I thought kind of sounded like a fan favorite character. I don't want to spoil too much, but the point is the voice acting was great. The storyline was very cute, very cynical, very sarcastic, the way that you want it in a Lego franchise. And I really love the fact that how they're still going to celebrate Life Day the way they did with the original holiday special. This one is a lot more fun because it's not just having 45 minutes of Wookiees just going, you know, it's they come in for a few seconds and it spends more time with other characters. And this was supposed to be an hour, but because it's on Disney Plus after commercials, it's 47 minutes. Where the original holiday special with commercials close to 2 hours, and that's 2 hours I'll never get back. I've seen the holiday special. I own the holiday special. I regret ever watching it. I didn't know about it until the 90s when it was announced somehow on a this computer game that I got from my PC discussing the holiday special. And then over the years, you get the idea. But the less we talk about, the only good thing about that original holiday special was the fact that both Art Carney and B. Arthur and Harvey Korman put more effort into it than, you know, Han.
But moving on, let's go.
Yeah, but moving on. My point, I can't spoil it because you haven't seen it. That's the problem.
Well, I want to hear your thoughts. Is it good? Is it something that people should
watch?
Yeah,
you'll definitely. Here's the thing, though. This is, I give it a B for the fan fiction, so it's definitely worth it. But I feel you can only watch it one time.
Well, there you go. I mean, as long as you get a chance to enjoy it, I'm sure it does several times. Like I've seen the trailer. I'm sure it does and goes out of its way to poke fun at the holes in the Star Wars universe per se. But it does do a great job of entertaining, and obviously it's a much better design than what the original holiday special was. So I'm looking forward to getting a chance to checking out the Star Wars Lego holiday special this weekend, and I hope everybody does get a chance to go ahead and watch it too. That's available on Disney Plus, and I truly thank Noah for stopping by on today's show to go ahead and share his thoughts on it. But we want to hear your thoughts. How good, in your opinion, was the Lego Christmas Holiday Special that's now on Disney Plus? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com, and you can go ahead and tell us, was it a great experience, or was it an experience very similar to your viewing of the Star Wars Holiday Special originally from the 1970s? But we want to hear your thoughts on that, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, we're coming up right after the break with a great interview with Liz Presley. She is going to be in the movie Concrete Cowboy coming up on Netflix in 2021. I had an awesome conversation with her, and that's coming up after the break. And then right after it, Noah, Ian Fine are going to close out the show, and Noah, Ian Fine and myself are going to close out the show with the Fresh Prince 30th anniversary reunion, Black Friday deals that I'm talking about, and yes, Charlie Brown, wah, 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 is coming back to regular television. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that at the back end of the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. I want to thank so much Liz Priestley from Concrete Cowboy. Please check out that movie when it drops on Netflix in 2021, starring Idris Elba. Just looks like a very good movie. Saw some a little bit of peaks here and there on it as far as that are available on the trailers. I'm very excited for it, and I'm very excited for her, and I wish her a tremendous amount of success. It's truly a great interview, and I appreciate her taking the time to speak to me. Plus, give a shout out to the SJ Network and Steve Joyner for allowing us to go ahead and speak to her on that. So cannot thank him enough for doing it. Plus, also as well, you're going to catch us at Indie Pods United on November 29th, noon Eastern. So check us out there. We're doing a special 30-minute Pop Culture Cosmos in front of everybody at the Indie Pods United, as several podcasts will be there. In fact, over 40 from what I'm remembering as far as the list is concerned are going to be there, plus entertainers, comedians from Saturday Night Live, and so much more. If you want your ticket information for it, because there's going to be panels, workshops, ways to help you get into podcasting or help your podcasting, you want to go ahead and check it out today, indiepodsunited.com. Tickets are still available as of this time, as of this recording, at $10 for the entire 5-day event that starts November 29th. And again, we'll be there November 29th at noon Eastern time. Check us out right there for you. All right, my friend, before we head on out, I want to go ahead and honor real quickly the 30th anniversary that just dropped on HBO Max for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I like I said, for someone that I kind of got into it, I appreciated Will Smith's character at that point in time, because you could see how much he commanded and the charisma that he had, and you could see the level of success he was going to be on the road to getting, because he just that show centered around him, and rightly so. And I think it was for the better of it. But I'm glad to see that the living members of the show got a chance to have a reunion. And in fact, there was a long-standing feud between Janet Hubert and Will Smith that they actually kind of mended the fences, so to speak, on that. I want to hear your thoughts on the Fresh Prince coming back for 30th anniversary that's now available on HBO Max.
Well, I watched a few episodes. I was never a diehard fan of it.
But you could really see the talent of Will Smith at that point.
Yeah, I mean, listen, even before Fresh Prince, I think during Fresh Prince he was in a couple of the movies. I know he was in one with Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson, and of course when Independence Day came out, he was still doing Fresh Prince, which is great. And I think right before it ended, he was doing Bad Boys. He's a talent, so is Carlton. No, please don't get me wrong. But it sucks that we lost Uncle Phil before we could really... This is going to be a really crappy reunion without him.
Well, they do honor him during the reunion.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do, and don't get me wrong. And again, I wasn't the biggest fan of this series. I am of him, so... Yeah, I'll probably watch it, but I think with HBO Max anyway, you can watch the reruns of Fresh Prince or on Peacock or somewhere. So I will definitely be checking it out. It's just that it was one of those shows that I think started in the late '80s and continued until '98 or something like that. I know it was up until the '90s.
Yeah, it wasn't actually the early 90s, just to let you know. And actually, I'll get the dates on that for you. But I wanted to ask you this, my friend. You're going to be seeing a lot more reunion specials like this. Obviously, the Friends one is getting the most count. They had to delay it a little bit, but there will be a major Friends reunion on HBO Max. We're going to be seeing these reunion shows happen more often, more often. Are you happy because of it? Is that cool that these shows from the past will be reuniting for either just a reunion special or maybe even for doing like TV movies or something like that? I had talked about the other day with someone that I thought Monk would be something that would be great for Peacock to get back into, to do, let's say, like a TV movie or something like that, because that was such a beloved series, and the characters came together for an online Zoom meeting to tell everybody about the coronavirus and things of that nature. About other shows, period, is there any shows that you would really love to see a reunion of down the road?
It'll never happen because with Everybody Loves Raymond, Ray's parents sadly passed away in real life, so that'll be too awkward. They could probably just do a reunion special, discuss what's been going on, because I know that I guess Patricia Heaton needs work because of what happened with her husband with that HR nightmare. But I really, really, and I know it's never going to happen either, and it's a shame, I would have loved to see a Married with Children. I know they kind of did a reunion on Fox years ago, and it was on the season 1 DVD. But there were talks of doing some sort of soft reboot where it was supposed to star Bud. And I guess it never happened. And there's no way in today's day and age, because everybody's so offended, that it'd be so politically incorrect to bring that in. But it would have been curious and challenging if they could have done a Married with the Children reunion or TV movie or something. I mean, they have Borat, so they could have, But that's the only thing I can think of. With Friends, again, I watched the first 3 seasons. The reunion, I don't know what that would be. Would that just be them sitting around the couch again and talking
something like that? Good, like we're seeing with Fresh Prince Bel-Air for 30th anniversary. They're just talking around the couch, just telling you the good times, the memories they have. I don't think it's going to be anything like that as far as a big movie or anything like that. I think it's just a reunion special per se. But I would love to see, like I said, something from Monk or even the old TV show Ed, which I think was very underrated for the day. But
yes.
Fresh Prince did last till 96, just to let you know. It dropped from 90 to 96, 6 seasons. But yes, a lot of people have some fond memories. Obviously, it was this great starting point for Will Smith to go on and explode to, obviously to where he's still a name individual even to this day as far as one of the biggest names out there. So you know what? I'm glad to see that they're going out and reuniting. I'm glad to seeing that there's fences mended. And if you want to get a chance to check out the 30th anniversary reunion of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, please check it out today on HBO Max. What are your thoughts out there on Fresh Prince getting back together for the entire cast that's alive and available to go ahead and do the 30th anniversary on HBO Max? We want to hear your thoughts if you are a big fan of the day of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been great talking to you. I cannot appreciate you taking the time, especially on such short notice again. But before we head on out and before we talk some Charlie Brown, Black Friday deals, my friend. I know you said you weren't really shopping this year for this Black Friday, but as I'm showing people right now on Facebook Live, Target is really eyeing me as well. Not only do we talk about some great deals, Josh and I, as far as from Best Buy, and then also Marcus, on last week's show, we talked about a little bit about some things as well in that, but Josh and I have been covering it on the Pop Culture Cosmos as far as what Walmart and GameStop and Best Buy have been doing. But I'm going to Target now, and I'm seeing this $229 65-inch television for $229, and I'm just really intrigued by it. It looks like it's going to be a decent TCL 65-inch 4K unit. They've got a lot of other great specials as well that are out there, but I'm telling you, my friend, if you're still interested in getting something out there, this could be the time to do it. And again, there's a retailer after retailer starting to throw out those deals now and on Black Friday itself.
Again, you know, I don't know what I could really need. I got my PlayStation 4. I got the games that I wanted. TVs, I have one in every room at this point because of last year. I got an iPad through a Black Friday deal a couple years ago that still works very well, and I'm very happy with it. My iWatch still works. I know that they have the Series 3 that's $119, which is not bad for an iWatch or anything Apple for that matter. But I scratched my head and I thought, unless there's some digital sales for some PlayStation 4 games, I don't really, no, there's nothing that I can really think about. This was a challenge this year, but it's kind of like, no, you know what? Unless there's something I really, really, really wanted, no, I can't think of anything this year. It's sad, right? Adulting sucks.
Adulting sometimes does indeed, but there are some pretty good specials that you might want to check out. Actually, best place we go is any of the Black Friday sites like blackfriday.com, etc. So you can have it all in one place as far as looking at the ads. But Target is something that everybody wants to take a look at. The 229 65-inch television obviously is something that's drawing people in. And of course, everybody that is interested in the console, just trying to find a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series at this point in time is very difficult. Every time that there seems to be a drop of at least a small amount of PlayStation 5s or Xbox Series, it seems to go out just like that. So, you know what? Black Friday is going to be a tough time shopping it, but if you can, at least you do it from the safety of your own home. For the most part, most of these deals are online, so you want to check that out. blackfriday.com or any Black Friday site should be able to give you all the information you need. But if you always need help, give us a call or let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, and we'll be able to go ahead and give you some guidance on where to go and where to look for Black Friday deals coming up very soon. Woo! Been a good episode, my friend. I cannot thank you enough again for sitting in the big chair. But before we head on out, wah, 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 wah. Charlie Brown. It seems like Apple Plus, I'm going to say there's probably a lot of public pressure was put on it and a lot of public backlash when the Charlie Brown Halloween special, the Great Pumpkin special, unfortunately was only made available on Apple Plus. Now, you could have seen it free during a limited amount of days during that Halloween period of time. I think it was like 3 or 4 days. It was made available for free for anyone, regardless of whether you're an Apple Plus subscriber or not. But Apple Plus is now going a step further and making it all their holiday specials. They're going to be made available at some period of time on PBS. So you're going to have to check your local PBS listings on that. But I want to hear your thoughts. It's not coming to CBS or ABC or NBC, but PBS. I want to hear your thoughts on Apple Plus saying, you know what, we're going to go ahead and let everybody have a Charlie Brown holiday special on broadcast television after all.
I've altered the deal, Charlie Brown. Pray I don't alter it any further. I'm just going to say something right now because I've been watching the Charlie Brown specials since 1978 onward, and I'm just going to... the Halloween special is my favorite, not just because I love Halloween. It was just something really different and unique. And I've seen the 80 biography about Charles Schultz and about how the Christmas special broke all the rules, and I get all that. But I have to be honest, both the Thanksgiving and the Christmas, I was never huge fans of. I love the music, but I was never a huge fan. I think it's because the Thanksgiving one is bland. It's just Peppermint Patty invited herself over, and Snoopy ended up cooking snacks for dinner. And the Christmas was just that Charlie Brown didn't know what the true meaning of Christmas was. Linus gives that famous monologue, which as a kid you were like, as an adult, like, wow, it really did break all the rules. But and that Charlie Brown saw something in a dead stick that the kids all kind of fixed up and made into a beautiful Christmas tree, to the point now that that Christmas tree, they actually sell it in Target.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a few feet
It's all
high.
retail. All
Yeah,
retail.
it's a few feet high, but it's bent over. It's the pine trees. You know, it's before the kids fix it up and everything. So I thought that was pretty cute. But again, you know, we've talked about this to death. I don't understand Hollywood law. I don't know, because I know Apple had a deal with the Schultz estate, and they were putting.
Yeah, they bought they bought the rights to Peanuts.
Right, and they put the special. But the problem is, just because they bought it, not everybody wanted to get the Apple service, and it was kind of like. But now PBS was nice enough to do it, which is odd. Out of all the stations, PBS. I feel
it's a design deal with Apple Plus, man. It's Apple saying, okay, we're going to make it available on broadcast television, but we're going to put it on the lowest common denominator as far as what people watch, because PBS, you know, let's put that out there. PBS is not the most watched network in the United States. It's public broadcasting system. It's there for a reason. It's there because it's subsidized, but there is a select amount of people that support it and watch it. Most of us do not. But that's exactly why Apple Plus put it there, because they didn't want to put it on CBS or NBC or ABC. They didn't want to reward you, the general viewer out there, to go ahead and say, you know what, we're going to put it on broadcast television, but we're going to put it on a big, broad spectrum to, you know, out of the generosity of our heart. We're going to put it on and make you search for your PBS, because for most people, they don't even remember where their PBS station is.
Yeah, this is a challenge to find it. It took me forever to find it here in Florida. But I'm kind of wondering as well, is that you have to, because knowing PBS is that because of public broadcasting, you watch something for 10 minutes and then they have like 45 minutes of saying like, well, we'll put your show back on if you pledge and we'll give you the tote bag. So I've never really been a huge fan. I love PBS back in the 80s, but ever since then, it's kind of like, okay, you want to watch something, you have to pay to watch it. It was microtransaction before microtransaction, so it's kind of ironic.
I mean, PBS is there for a reason. Whether or not, like I said, this is an argument for another day. This is a political argument. It's an argument for another day, because it's something that I don't know. I don't even want to go on a pop culture cosmos, because it's something that you would talk about ad nauseum. It delves into political issues. It delves into, is PBS still relevant? Is it still needed in 2020? That's something I think that maybe I'll hold off to another day, because it really can get brutal, and I don't want to go ahead and give everybody. I know. Go ahead, my friend. Finish up.
I just find it ironic, because it's like Apple, that's known for its microtransactions, that put it on a station known for its microtransactions. But again, I don't know when it's supposed to air on PBS, what time it's supposed to air on PBS. They really didn't say when. I guess sometime in December, because that's usually when it would air anyway. Yeah. But I just don't know the time, and
it's making you do the work. It's making you do the work.
Yeah, it's making you do the work. So bravo, Apple. But yeah, this one wasn't. You know what? If you want to watch it, if you enjoy it, great. But they also sell it on DVD, and I know that they also sell it on Amazon Prime. So it's 1/6 half dozen of the other.
But right now, 2020 could use a lot of Charlie Brown specials, because they make the heart feel good for us that are very nostalgic about what they need to see in their lives right now, and also to show the kids, new generations, the world of Peanuts. And when you limit it to just Apple Plus, that's saying something right there. But again, they have made it available on broadcast television. It is on one of the smaller outlets that are available. It is PBS, which is available in virtually all the major markets, but it's still not the most readily used network out there. But again, they did make it available, so I got to give them props for that. And I'm hoping to see that Peanuts will go ahead and be beloved once more this holiday, whether it's the Christmas special or whatever specials that you're enjoying when it comes to Charlie Brown. Let's hope it's a good Charlie Brown holiday for you as well. What are your thoughts out there on the Charlie Brown holiday specials being shown on PBS and being allowed to show by Apple Plus? Share us your thoughts. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. My friend, we came through a great episode, high and dry. I'm back on with Josh on Monday's show on the Pop Culture Cosmos. We'll be talking even more great things that are going on in the realm of pop culture. But any last thoughts on the way out?
Yeah. Happy holidays to everybody. Not going to be political. I'm just going to say that I know that 2020 was not the best year. Thank you for everyone for their patience. We are going to get through this. Things kind of will sort of get better. I know that you don't want to be patronized and it doesn't want to be cornball, but we made it this far. I can assure you in the next few months, we're only a few weeks away, actually, not months, a few weeks away from the next year. Things are going to slowly and surely start to get better again. But again, not to be repetitious, as an essential worker, play it safe. Wash your hands for 30 seconds. Please wear a mask and make sure you cover your entire face and nose. And be very, very careful and cautious around anybody over 65. A lot of people are not taking this seriously. One of my neighbors ended up getting COVID because they weren't, they were kind of letting their guard down. Please do not, especially during flu season. Just follow this, and everything is going to be fine. And don't worry about what you're watching. Just use common sense. Everything will be fine if you just use standard precautions, common sense, and I promise you it's going to take some time. It's going to be okay.
So for Noe and Fine, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Appreciate it.